the safe storage, what does that mean in terms of people at home with their medications and their drugs? How can they safely store these drugs that are not in the reach of young children or teens in the house?
Yeah, there have been some interesting studies that have come out taking a look at, and this is kind of focusing more on opioids and post-surgical prescribing, but they also take a look at and speak with patients about, how did you store these medications? How did you dispose of them? And I think on the order of and again, this is focusing on opioid prescribing after surgery. Only about a quarter of people had their medications in a secure, locked location. The other 75%, were, either on the counter, they were stored in an unlocked medicine cabinet, where anybody who would be accessing the bedroom or the bathroom or wherever they were would have access to those. I have a visual that I like to show folks. This is it's a medication lockbox, and they cost about $20. You can get them at just about any pharmacy. And particularly if you have controlled substances in the house, these things are, I think, fabulous to have. They're not the sort of thing that are impenetrable. They're not designed to be. But what they do is if somebody has tried to access the medications, there's clear evidence, that the hinges are off. They have similar things that, like deposit envelopes, with a locked zipper on it, so that you can tell that the medications somebody has tried to access them. And to me, those are some of the best ways, and certainly kind of keeping them up and away, and it not letting a lot of folks know that, what your medications are, where you store them, and kind of keeping track of how many you have, I think is another good suggestion for people, so that you can tell if somebody has been, taking the medication.
That's another point.
And disposing, getting them out of the house once you're done using them is also critical.
That's an important point to bring up. I mean, how do we keep track of the meds? If you have a lot of meds in the house, and how do you keep track and make sure that somebody is not accessing any of those meds that you're not aware of? So you've got to be diligent, I guess, about counting the pills and making sure that nothing is disappearing.
Ray, if I could just expand on what Mark said, the West Springfield Police Department has a kiosk 24/7 in our lobby, and like he said, it's just like returning a book to the library. It's as soon as you walk into the lobby, it's right there. You don't have to interact with anyone. You don't have to tell anyone what you're doing. You just come in, use the kiosk, and you can walk out. It's a very simple and private process.
No questions asked. It's that simple. Just come in, drop them off, and leave.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'd also like to remind people that you always have the option to do a partial fill, which is particularly important post-surgery, because sometimes people will prescribe like a 30-day supply of narcotics when you really don't need it. But Mark, what I don't know, if somebody does a partial fill and then they decide that they need more, can they fill the rest of that script, or does it get destroyed?
I believe they can, so what would happen is they would document on the script, how many were picked up.
Okay.
And to the best of my knowledge, they could still go back and access the rest of those if they needed to. Again, if you get that 30-day supply, like Dr. Perry was suggesting, and you only use 50% of it, and again, that's kind of what the studies say, is that anywhere from 2/3 to 90% of people who have surgery have opioids left over afterwards. And, you know, again, the pill counts as well, you know, at least 50% of those left, and those sit in the medicine cabinet. And those medications serve as a reservoir for non-medical use. You know, so again, it's don't save them for future use. You know, I might need them in the future. Get them out of the house. Get rid of them.
Okay, thanks, Mark.